Hey there, Chandler Collins here. I promise this isn't a paid product placement. I'm using this as a prop because I want to tell you about a little story that's really related to making changes to your health, and actually really it could be applied to making changes to your life in general. But when I was in my early 20s, this is before I ever went to chiropractic school, I was working for this software company in downtown Chicago. And they were a big tech company, and like a lot of tech companies at the time, they stocked the place. They stocked the floors with lots of snacks and sugary foods and drinks and anything to just try and keep people happy and keep them working. And so there were these refrigerators on every floor, actually on either side of every floor, and you could walk down and just walk by them and grab one and drink them. So that's what I did. I drank a lot of them throughout the day, probably. It wouldn't surprise me if I was drinking 3 or 4 a day. And lo and behold, after a while, I didn't feel so good. So I had the realization that maybe it had something to do with all the sugar I was getting. And so I said, well, I probably do not need all this sugar. So I need to make a change. So I did. So I stopped drinking Coke, and I started drinking Diet Coke. I figured, okay, I'm eliminating the sugar. That should be better. So weeks or maybe months went by. I don't know how long it was, but I still, I was probably feeling better from having less sugar, but I still didn't feel great. And I realized, I'm pretty wired most of the day and had that sort of edgy kind of energy. And I thought, all this caffeine cannot be good for me. And I'm getting a lot of it through these drinks. So I decided to stop drinking Diet Coke. And I went to big change here, caffeine-free Diet Coke. So I started drinking that because I figured, well, I'm not getting the sugar, I'm not getting the caffeine. And again, weeks or months went by, and at some point I looked down at this drink and probably read the ingredients and saw that it was basically aspartame and food coloring and all sorts of chemicals that I can't even pronounce. And thought, this is just silly. I mean, there's no reason I should be drinking this stuff. There's nothing in here that's good for me. And so I got rid of it and started just drinking plain old water, and which is, of course, what I should have been drinking all along. But it took me a while to get there, and that's the point. That there are some of you, probably you know who you are, that you do better with going cold turkey with things, right? You want to make a change to your health. You're drinking Coke, so you just stop it and you start drinking water. And that's great if that works for you. But for those of you where that's a little harder to do, I want to encourage you that the incremental changes can have just as big an impact when you start adding them up. And that's what happened with me, right? It took me a while to get there. But piece by piece, I cleaned up my diet and made better choices along the way. And that can not just be with drinks like this, it could be with anything. A small change added up can make a big difference. So maybe the small change for you is not eating corn chips, or not putting ketchup on something, or choosing organic vegetables as opposed to conventional vegetables, things like that. Little changes can make a big difference when you start adding them up. So don't get discouraged if you find making changes to your health or just changes to your life daunting. Take the little ones, add them up, and it'll make a big difference. That's really about it. If you're watching this any other place besides collinsdc.com, head on over there, subscribe to the list. That's where you get updates and videos like this. And scroll down, leave a comment, good or bad. Let me know what you think. I really love to hear from you. And I'm still working on the webinar. That's coming out. I've not forgotten about that. So if you're subscribed to the list, then you're going to get access to that for free. So I'm really excited about it. So stay tuned. And that's about it. Have a great week, and thanks.